actually use in different ways. So when you're talking about list in Python, so we are just trying to refer that it is actually, we use it majorly to store. So when you're talking about use it to store many or multiple, use it to store many or multiple, that is, we use to store many or multiple item in a single variable. So like I said, you use it to store multiple items in a single variable. And also you know that, like I said, this list can have more attributes. So to get this quickly in your head, so I want you to know that we'll be talking about list. And then list is one of the 4 built-in data type that we have in Python. We use them to store a collection of data in Python. Now, the rest of other things we're going to be talking about is called tuple. We're going to talk about dictionary. We're going to talk about set. And these are all have different quantities, and then they also have different uses. So, like I said, know that this is one of the 4 things we are going to be talking about when you talk about storing data in Python. Number 1, lists. 2, tuple. 3, dictionary. And 4 is set. And these are what we use in our everyday life. Also, this is also what you use in GIS, because those data you're interacting in ArcGIS, all of them are regarded as this set of data collection. Because if you look there, you see that some of them are stored in table, attributes, some of them are indirectly stored in this particular data format. So one thing I want you to know all this is that when you're talking about list, we create using a square bracket. Now, what do I mean by square bracket? I mean this type. This is what we call the square bracket. So we use this to create when we're talking about lists. And now, how do we create lists? The moment you define something, you don't have to type list, because list is a built-in function. So you don't have to type list. So, but I am just going to say, let's say present list. Here we have the present lists. The present list here, number 1 is that we have Kingsley. Number 2, we have Balaki. Then number 3, we have
Sir,
Lydia. Yeah.
we are not seeing your screen.
Okay. Number 4, we have Farida. Then, now these are the lists of the people that are present currently, and they are called lists. Now, remember that when you're putting up lists, this ought to be in this pattern. So I didn't write Lydia well, so let me adjust it. So this is a list of the people that are present. Now, why? Inside this list, Kingsley is a guy, Balak is a guy, Lydia is a girl, Farida is a girl. Now, you see now that even inside list, they're having different attributes. So the moment you go into listing here, then you should also understand that lists are actually in this particular pattern. Now, there are things I want you to get to understand as we are moving on. To print lists, as you can see, so I can print those people that are present. So I will go with the present underscore list. Now, this is the people that are available today, as you can see. Now, these are the list of the people that are available. So we put them into the list. So the moment you put this square bracket, you are referring to list. And that automatically get to know that. Now, that's the first thing you need to know. The first thing is that lists uses a square bracket. That's the first thing I want you to know. So it uses a square bracket, and that is the reason why if you go down here, we talk about square brackets. Now, this is the first thing I want you to know about list. This is the attribute of list. And the second thing I want you to know about the attribute of list is that lists are ordered. lists are changeable, and lists allow duplicate of number. Note this: lists are ordered, lists allow duplicates, and also lists allow changeable. Now I'm going to treat each of them one by one, because the same way I talk about lists, I'm going to talk about tuple, I'm going to talk about dictionary, and I'm going to talk about set using different attributes. Now this will allow you know which way do you need to store your data at any given time and what is possible in the list. Because why I'm saying this is that you see the way I have Lydia can be two in the class. So lists allow Lydia to be duplicated. So this will help you know that when you want to store people in the list, this can be duplicated, and this is where it is not going to be duplicated. First thing, list uses square bracket. Second thing, lists are changeable, lists are ordered, and lists allow duplicate. Now, how do I explain this? Before I go into that, I want also to let you know that lists, I'll still use this. I also want you to know that when you're talking about lists, list index of lists starts with 0, and the second one is 1. Now what do I mean? Let me explain. Now what I mean is that in this list we have here, if you say here that I want to get the first person on the list now, I want to get the first person in the list now, what do you need to do? Remember that it starts with 0, not 1. So if you say give me the first person on the list, is Kingsley, and that Kingsley start with what? 0, not 1. Now the second person inside the list here will be Balak. Remember this, because it is the first person here. So list index start with 0. Now if I want to get people from 0 to the end, so it means that I'm going to go like this, and I will get Balak to the end. If I want to get the people from the beginning to the third person, removing the third person, so I am only going to have Balak and Lydia, because give me from the beginning to the end, as in from beginning to the third one, but remove the third one. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Farida is 3, so I'm eliminating 3 because of this. Now know this very well. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky, but it is not tricky. It's just all about you understanding this simple thing I'm telling you now. And this is what we are going to use to expand activities we are going to do, because like I said, the moment we finish with all this storing of data, I'm going to switch you directly to maybe function, and I use if and s, and then I take you to modules, and we start using visualization. I don't want us to go into several things, but just get to know this, because this is a way we're going to store our data, and this is very, very important. Like I said, I am explaining this as related to index. The same way it continues. So what it means is that the first index is 0. Note this, the first index is 0. The first index is 0, and the first index, I'm repeating this, I know why I'm repeating this. The first index is 0. The second index, which have to be the second number, is 1. The third is 3. So you can, if you put 3 here, you are going to assign 0, 1, 2, 3. What if you put 4 here? When you put 4 here, it's going to be what? Out of range, because we don't have list index out of range, because we don't have 4 people here. Don't count it as 1, 2, 3, 4. The moment it is list, is a square bracket, just know that it starts with what? 0. So that this is all about when I mention index. Now, I said that Python, in terms of lists, I mentioned 3 of the properties. Number 1 is that I said it is ordered. Number 2, I said it allows changeable. Number 3, I said it allows duplicate of values. Now let me explain now. I am going to go into by explaining what I mean by that it is ordered. Now I'm going to paste this. I'm referring that list is ordered. Now what do I mean that list is ordered? I am trying to say that it is ordered means that the item you have a defined order, and that order will not change. So if you add a new item in the list, the new order will be replaced at the end of it. So what I mean that it is ordered is that when you put up this, you see the way it is simply ordered. Now if I go ahead here to say Ame, for example, and then I put up this now and I run this code, this will not change the position of it. So any place their position are standing, that is where they are standing. So if I say that Lydia is number 3, it automatically become number 3 inside that list. So if you check here, Amena is now 0. So it means that when I say it is ordered, I'm trying to refer to you that they have a definite order, and that order will not change. So you cannot see Kingsley coming in front of here when in the list Ame is in front. So this is what I mean by orders. There are some of the lists that will change in order, but in generally, the order of the item will never change. Now, when I say there are some of them that will change in order, but in terms of times, it will not change. What I mean is that there are some of the times you can use them, like for example, you can say there are lists that can be ordered. But what I just want you to know that in general terms, know that the list have to be ordered, and this is what I mean when I'm referring to order. So it allow order, so the order remain in that particular pattern. Now I am going to talk about changeable. When I'm talking about changeable, the list can be changed. What I'm referring to is that you can change the list, you can add it, you can remove it after creating them. The moment you create the list, you can change the list, you can remove it, you can create them. What do I do? Example is what I did here. I can decide to eliminate Kingsley from this list. Now means there is no problem. So if I go ahead and say Kingsley, then I can eliminate them at any point in time. I can remove it at any point in time. So it means that the list here can be changeable. So when you create it, you can remove anybody you want to remove from the list, and I can add anybody I want to add from the list, and then I can do whatever I want within the list. Now, another thing I mean is that the last things I mentioned here is that lists are allowed duplicates. So we are talking about duplicates. What do I mean by duplicate? You see the way I have Ame here, I can still have another Ame here. Why? Because lists allow duplicates. Lists allow duplicates. So you see that I have 2 Ame here. We have 2 Ame here. Why? Because it allows duplicates. There are people that can be Lydia can come into 2 times, and then Lydia in the class, it can allow accommodate both of them. So this is list, and also know that what I mean when I'm talking about this is not only strings. This is what I want you to know. It is not only strings. I don't think it is only strings. Float, float is also included here. You can see here I have integer and float. And remember, you can also combine them together. So it is not just only this. Now a list means that you can also bring 5. You can also bring 5.6, meaning that inside here we have integer, float, and strings. So it is not just only that. So this is what I want you to know. Now, the same way you access a particular thing. Remember what I said earlier yesterday or day before yesterday when I was trying to explain to Balak about what he did. For the fact that I have defined this and I have run it, it's already in the memory. I don't want to repeat this again. So I am just going to call list type here to continue with what I'm doing. I told you why I used to do it like that. Now, to get the length of this, you are still going to use print. You open bracket, you say length of present list one. So you can see here, this is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, length is different from indexing. I've explained the indexing from the beginning, and then the length is different from indexing. So to get the length of this is how you can get the length of a list. So getting the length. So you use this print word to get the length of the list. Now, like I've said, a data can be stored in different ways. You can store them as a strings. You can store it as an integer. You can also store it as a float. You can even store it as a boolean, meaning that you can also, let me just eliminate list 1 and combine everything inside here. So let me just eliminate list 1. And then you can also store a boolean like true. You can see here, false. You can see it here. So this can also be stored in a single list. So list can be anything. So this is one thing I want you to know as related to all this list. Then, like I said, it can contain different aspects: strings, integer, boolean, float. You can put them inside there. Now, this is a way you can get the length of the list. Now, on a quick one as well, if I want to get the type of the data I am using, remember I have talked about this before. You just need to say print and you say type of that particular thing you are trying to print. So this is list 1, list here, and you can see here this is a class. The class name is called list. So this is a way you can get the type of data you are working on stored. So this is a way you can get the type at any point in time. Now, there is something we call list constructor. It is not also possible to use list constructor when you're creating a new list. So what I mean by list constructor is I am going to copy this same thing I'm using here in order just to make a modification, and then I'm going to paste it here. When you want to work on lists, so let me give you example of what I'm trying to say. I'm going to put double bracket here, and then I'm going to go down here as well to put this here, and then I'm going to come here. I'm going to put this as list X, and I'm going to call this as lists, bringing it this list here, and then I'm going to print list X here, and then I'm going to run this particular code here. Now here we call this list constructor. So note this, the data can decide to talk about her list in this pattern, and May can also decide to call his own list in this pattern. So I'm going to say print here type, and I say present list X here, and I run it, and you can see here that the class is still list. So what I'm trying to say is that the constructor we see here when you're creating a new list here, so you can see what I did here. So it is called list constructor. So what I'm trying to say in general, and I want you to understand, is that Python collection, which is called array in general, have four types of data collection, which include dictionary, it includes set, it includes tuple, and include list. Now, like I said here in the beginning, I mentioned that lists, I mentioned that lists is ordered. I also mentioned that lists is changeable. And I also mentioned that lists allows duplicates. Now, this is what English we are going to be speaking for now, and this is a property I want you to know when it comes to lists. We'll be talking about dictionary, and I'm going to tell you that dictionary is ordered, changeable, but does not allow duplicates. I'm going to tell you that set is unordered, not ordered, and it is unchangeable, and it is also on index, and it does not allow duplicate of the member. That is set. I'm also going to tell you about tuple, which is ordered, unchangeable, and allow duplicate of the members. So this is what I want you to understand. And then we are going to keep talking about this because this is where the data storage comes in. So, and I want you to know this. The reason why you need to know this is that this type of data collection, you need to understand it. You need to understand the properties as related to it, because it will help you now know which one do you need to use at any point in time. You will understand this massively as we go on. And that's when you're going to understand what Lydia says when she was talking about ArcGIS, and then she defined DBF. And I'm going to relate all these things to it. And you know the reason why ArcGIS stores the data, it stores like that. And like I said before in attribute, I told you that we have 3 districts in Kigali, which is Nyarugenje. And that Nyarugenje have another properties, which you have other village inside it. I'm going to show you how you store data in that pattern, and then you're going to access them, and then you'll be able to use them anytime. Understanding these things I said now gives you a bigger understanding when it comes to Python, and then understanding the data structure. Like I said, and I'm repeating for the last time before I proceed, that list is ordered, it is changeable, and it allows duplicate. Tuple is ordered but not changeable, and it also allows duplicate. Set is ordered, unchangeable, unindexed, and it does not allow duplicate. But when you talk about dictionary, it is ordered and changeable, but does not allow duplicate. So we'll be going deep into those parts. So I will be moving straightly now to talking about lists, because that's what we're going to focus today. Now, in terms of lists, I've explained to you on list here. In accessing the item here, I've said something here when you talk about accessing item in the list. So I've talked about that. So there will be no need for me repeating that again. But when you are talking about this, I talk about accessing item. So when you are accessing item in the list, now index comes in play. You need to understand this very well. One, the positions, I've said that before, so you need to understand that. And also I say something about negative. When the moment you put negative on it, I give it as example, you are referring to storing it from the end. But there is something I want you to understand here when I say negative. Now, when I run this code, the negative here starts with Farida. Now, it does not start when you put the difference here is that when you are talking about negative item, you are not referring to the same thing as it is here because this is 0. But when you start from the negative item, you start with 1 here. When you refer to the negative item, you are talking about the last item. But when you are talking about positive, you are starting with 0. This is what I want you to understand. When I say negative, it is from the end. And this is why I said you need to practice. You get this code, you re-practice, you change some numbers and try to see what the output is. And you get to understand what it means. Now, when you're talking about range of data, this is what I mean by range. When you want to access the data, this is what I mean by range. I need the range from 1 to 3, not including 3. This is what I mean by range. So you can also try your own and accessing them. And also, when you want to add all the range can also be added using this kind of pattern. So let me copy this and paste it here and then remove 1 from here. What it means is that give me everything from beginning to 3 but not include 3. So that means give me Kinsley, Balak, Lydia, but don't add Farida. Because remember, 0, 1, 2, 3. And this is 3. And then don't add Farida. This is what I mean. I can also do the same thing by putting 3 here. And then I will run this particular code. And you will get that give me everything from 3 to the rest. And what is the rest? Farida. It finishes. So that's why we only have this one, Farida, as you can see here. So remember, this is the way you can make what we call indexing. You can put it in front or the back, or depending on the range or how you want to put that. Remember also, you can also make negative to negative. Example of what I mean is that you can make negative this to negative 3. And if you run this code, it means that it is empty. Let's put negative 1 and negative 2 and run it as well. What do you have? It is still empty because you are moving in negative part. So ranges from negative to negative. In this way, what if I put negative 3 and then put 2 here and run the code? What happened? I have Balak. Given from negative 2, not including negative 3. This is negative 1, negative 2 here, and negative 3 is Balak. So give me from 3, not including 2, and then you have Balak here. Like I said, take your number and exchange or treat it like that and see what happens. Now, I'm going to the next one and I'm going to copy the first list we were using, those that were present in the class. So I'm going to copy this present as well. And then I'm going to go on and paste it here. Sorry. I'm going to go here and paste it here. Now, I'm going to tell you about existence of item. When you want to check existence of item. Now, how do you check whether item exists? If you have a big list, have a lot of things inside a particular listing, I don't want us to work on a big data now until we started using models. If not, I would have import a big data like Excel sheet, and then I can show you how you can mount it and be able to get what you need to have here, like the way you can access it. But I don't want us to go into that because I just wanted to start it a bit by bit. But the same way you see here, I can actually decide to use a data from my laptop or from inside my computer to check for this same thing I'm trying to tell you now, because all I just need is to make the right code and I should be able to access my entire laptop, like my entire PC. So in that way, like I said, we are going to get into that. But for now, I just want us to start from a bit by bit, and then when we will get there, like what I'm trying to say is that I can decide that, you see, this is a list. Now this is a small list. I can decide to say from Google Collaboratory dot this import. I can import it from my drive. In drive, I can say let me just not import from drive. and let me bring in files here. And because if I import from drive, that means I can access the data from my drive, Google Drive, but I don't want to bring it into the one from my Google Drive. And then I can say, let me just say I want to upload something into this particular place that I am now. I can say file.upload, so which is equals to files.upload. Now I'm just saying this because if I run this code now, I should be able to have access to my laptop. And then if it is an Excel sheet, as you can see here, I can access them from my download list. I can access them from my laptop, and that will automatically be saved here. So if you look here, see now that I have access to all the things I have here. So I can decide to bring any file here. If it is Excel, if it is any tab, I can access it. And if I bring in this, for example, here, it is going to be accessed. So you can see that this have uploaded and it have stored it somewhere here for me. So what I'm saying is that I can import these things here and analyze the data, like the list of the data, whether it exists either in name or a big side. But I don't want us to go into that. When we reach there, we'll cross the bridge. What I just want you to see that this list, I want to assume it is somewhere in my machine. I can access it or in my drive or in the website. We can show you how we're going to access them. But what I want to check is that whether a particular name exists in the list is what I want to check now. So you see now I've created this list and I want to check whether it exists. So in that way, I'm going to start using if, and I say if Balak exists in this. So if I run this code now, so it is going to tell me Balak is in the list because Balak is existing in the list. Now, this means that if I want to check I run this is not going to give me any answer because Chika does not exist here. And that is why you know that since I start if, it means I can also say else. I can say print not existing. Now, if you look at this, if I run this now, what is it going to give me? It's going to say not existing. But that time I did not put this thing, it did not give me anything because I did not give it a kind of command on what it's supposed to do. So Chika is not there. But if I check Ame, what happened is going to say Ame Balak is here. Remember when we talk about F string, and that is how you should also know, because we are going to talk about it. I might just need to talk about, but there's no need. So you can use F strings to work on this particular code, and then put the F string there so that anytime you run it, it will refer to the name you are trying to put. But then you need to make input function. So in that way, I can say input so that if I enter anybody's name, it will go into the list and search for it and tell me that now you see it's still making that Balak is not in the list because it is Balak. Or if we use input function and F strings and format it, we can any name we type, it will tell us the name is existing or the name is not existing. So but this is a way you can check if a name is existing in the list by using if. You call the name and then you should be able to check whether it is existing or not. Now, this is first property. Then another thing I want you to know is that we say that a Python can change. It is changeable. Remember, I said that in lists it is changeable. So I'm going to demonstrate that by saying changeable. Now, what do we mean when we say that it is changeable? What we mean that it is changeable means that you can change anything here. So I'm going to replace the first one Balak with King Cheka. And if I run this, it means that the output of this is going to be Cheka. Balak is gone. I can replace it with anything. Then the moment I put that is gone. Balak is gone. It will replace it with that. So the output of this code becomes this. Even if you go here and say present list, and then try to know what is in the present list, you see now that Balak has been eliminated in the list, even though it is defined in the above here. But from here henceforth, it doesn't know again that Balak is in the list. What is seen now is Cheka. So this is a way you can change. Like I said, after creating a list, remember this when we're talking about tuple. After I create the list, and I say, I made a mistake, I want to change, I change. Now, why did I change here? Because I say list 1, meaning that I'm referring to 0 and 1. If I want to replace Chika with Lydia, I simply need to put up here and put 2 here, and I run it. What happens? Bala comes back, but I replace Chika with Lydia. So at any point in time I create a list of people and I want to replace somebody with somebody, this is what I'm going to do. And that's going to replace the person. If I want to replace Farida, I'll need to put 3 and I run the same thing, and automatically Chika replace Farida. So this is a way you can change lists. And remember, like I said from the beginning, I said list is changeable. Now, what if I want to replace a range of values? What am I going to do? So replacing a range of values is being replaced by using the same item. 1, for example, I want to replace from number. This is 0 and 1. I want to replace 1 to 2 to 3. And then what it means is that if I run this code now, for example, it's going to come up with this. So what happened? Because I'm A and I want to replace with Chika. C, this one H, this one K. So within this interval, I want to replace what is inside here. Remember, this is 1, 2, and 3. Remember that it says don't add 3. Any number that you put here, don't add 3. So replace everything within this range, but don't touch what? Don't touch the last one, which is Farida. In this other pattern, I can also replace it in this way. Now you can see the way I put Chika here. The moment I want to replace with something in the range, I will introduce another list here. And then in that list that I'm introducing, I'm going to put Kingsley. So when I put up Kingsley here, I can also put Farida. And then I'm going to put up this. And if I run this list now, see what is going to happen. I've replaced Chika, Kingsley, Farida with everything within this range. You see now I have 2 Farida. Remember, it allows duplicates. So you can see now that I've replaced whatever that is within this range to this range with Kingsley. So let me now put Farida. Let me bring in Leoncy. So if you bring in Leoncy, you see here that you can replace this with all this. So you can inject in. When we'll be talking about this, I will show you how you can alter database by using this injection. Putting in numbers, like in your list, if I want to put in my name there, I can put it even though it is there. So we can inject it in. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is, if you look at this, you will see now that I have replaced all these things with what is here that is in between. So if I want to replace to the end, you know what you need to do. So this is the way you can replace a range of data at any given time. So you can change the second and add it with a new one. And that is the reason why I said that a list can be changeable. It allows you to change, and you can also make duplicates. So this is what I mean when I'm referring that. Now we have used this length. Now we are going to start using a keyword when it comes to lists. And one of the keywords we are going to use is what we call insert. How do you insert a new list item without replacing the existing one? So if you want to insert a new item and you don't want to replace the new one, that is exactly what we are going to do now. You insert something and you don't have to replace them. Now, there we're going to say insert. So we're going to use the keyword insert. How do you replace them? Now, when you want to add something up, so in the lists that you want to replace, now you can say in the lists you want to replace, you now put here and you say it's a keyword, you use .insert here, and then you can replace the second line with Chika. And then if you run the list, you see now that you have Ame, Balak, Chika, Lydia, and Farida. So that means At any point in time that I want to replace a particular number in a particular position, I put it here. So, okay, I'm the leader of the class. I want to put my name in the beginning. What do I need to do? I put it at the beginning. So, this is the way you can make an insert at a particular position and you still retain the same result. So, if you now check the length of this list, it is now 4. Remember, the keyword I said, it allows duplicates, it allows changeable, it allows duplicates. It allows you to change, modify, it allows you to update it, it allows you to delete. So one of the first keywords we use here is to insert. And remember what I said about insert. Insert tells you the position you want to insert it to. So this is what we call insert. And that's how we insert a number insert a item inside the list. Now another thing we call something like append. The difference between append and insert is that both of them add to the list, but append add something at the end. So what I mean is, when you have something like append, you needed to add somebody, maybe somebody come late and the person asks you, write my name. So you use the keyword which we call append. Now in this way, I'm going to put here dot append. Now in the append here, you don't need to put a keyword here. You just need to add what you need to add at the end of it, and it takes you to the end of it. So you can see here, Ame, Balak, this and here. So assuming that Honore later come, we can now put Honore here. So cancel and Honore come late, so you are appending it at the end of currently take two positional argument. Okay, yeah. So I will explain this a bit. Yeah. So, but you see here, we put it here, and then I just want to add here, and I want to add Honore here. So I should be able to add Honore here in this. So this is a way you append. The difference between append and then append and insert is that insert you add it in a particular place, but when you're talking about append, you add append to the end of the list. So this is just the difference between them. So if you add inside item, you add it in a specific place or location you want to add it. The location or the place you want to add it, you put it by using this number of indexing. So you add 0, add it to the beginning. If I want to add it here, I can add it here. But in this way, this one, you append, it takes the number to the end of it, and that's why you see Farida here, and I added Honore. What happens? It takes Honore to the end of it. So this is a way you can append. Now on a bit one, I want to talk about extend. Now how do you extend? Let's talk about extend a bit. So I'm still going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste this, and I will be talking about extend. Now in this extend, this is people that are good. These people here are the good people that come on time. Honore came late, and then I want to append Honore into it. But in this way, Honore is not the only person that came late, but Leonso also came late. So sorry. So Leonso also came late. And then these people are people that used to come late every time that we want to do something. So they are late students. They are late people. So these are the late people that used to come. List of the people that come late. Then I tell Lydia, write the name of people that come on time, and then write the people that come late. And then he told me that Honore come late. Also, there is another girl that is named Ame that also come late. I just want to assume that. And then Leonso also come late. Leonsi come late. Honore come late. I may also come late. Another girl that comes late. Remember, I'm trying to tell you that it allows duplicate. Now, these are the list of the people that come late. So what I need to do is that inside here, I have two lists. The first list are good people. The second list are bad people based on them coming late. Now, in this way, what I need to do is that I can make the total list. So let me put all lists. When I'm talking about all lists, that at the end of it, I want to know how many people that comes in here. So I can decide to say the first method I can do it by saying print all lists. I can say list 1 and add it with list 2. So you can see now that all the list of the people, this is the people that comes late. Now the second method I can say is that I can say all lists. Look at what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to say all lists. This is the second method. I'm going to say all lists dot extend here to extend the list. All the lists now. This is the list of the present people. So I'm going to say the present list. The list of the people that are here. Extend it with the people that come late. Do you see now? So if I now go ahead and say print present lists. Remember this one. I'm going to say print present lists. Sorry. Present underscore list. This one. Now these are two methods I use now. Take a look at these two methods. First and foremost, I'm going to remove this first one to run the first one. Only all lists. Now, this is the first one. The first method I use here is using all lists, and I say people that are present plus people that are absent, it added them. Now, if you look critically, you see that from Farida, it added Honore, Ame, and Dio by bringing these two lists, the people that come late and people that did not come late, and then I put them into two. Now, the second method I used is using extend method. Now, which is this one? Extend method, as I said, is that the present list extended with the people that are late, and this is what I have here. If I repeat the present list again, I have now. I use two methods here, and I want you to critically look at both of them. So this is a way you can make extend. So extend is used to make extend. Either use it manually. I used to call this one manually, because I used to call this particular one manually because it's just you bringing both lists at the same time. But if you want to extend the existing lists, so all you need to do is to use the keyword that is called extend, and that extend does automatically gives you the output of that. Now this is a way you can do it. So you can add it by iterate it. So in iterating means that in some of the cases, let me copy this and modify this to explain what I mean. Now here I have the first list and I have the second list here, and this second list I want to put using tuple. Now I'm using a bracket here, so I'm putting it in a bracket. This is the people that used to come late, and then in this way I'm going to remove this man here, and then I'm also going to remove this man here, and then I'm going to run this particular code here, and you see here that here, remember that I tell you that list is called, it is called what? List uses a square bracket, but now I'm using a parenthesis here. So you see the difference here and here. So whichever method you use, you see it working perfectly. So you can see that Ame and then Leo, see, are all included in this particular list. So this is a way you can, this is what we call adding any iterable. So iterable, so you put this and then you should be able to make it that. And then in the process of trying to make this done, Lydia make me angry. I've created a list, which is what is happening here. This is a perfect list that I've created here. And then let me not be repeating this. Let me continue because I assume that we are both understanding this now. So there's no need for me repeating the present list again. So I can just decide that in this list here that I put here, I want to continue with the same loop. And then out of the present people, you see the present people here, and I realize that Lydia make me angry, I want to remove her. What I need to do is that I need to call the present list, which is the total list here, and I can say dot remove Lydia. Is Lydia that I want to target, so I want to remove Lydia from the list. Now you see now that when I remove Lydia from the list, what happens? It automatically pick only Lydia and remove Lydia from the list, dropping Lydia from this. So you can see here that from here to here we have removed Lydia. But I say, no, I need to remove Ame. Let's see what happens when I say it is Ame that I want to remove. So see what happens. It clean the first Ame here. Note this. When I say I want to remove Ame, what happened? It only clean the first Ame. When I run the second one again, it removed the second Ame. Python is an interpreter. So when I run it again, what happens? It is wrong because I have exhausted everything that have to do with Lydia inside the brain. It is wrong because there is nothing like Lydia in the list again. Now what happens again? I will run this again. Now you have this here, and when I run this one again, what happens? It brings it back again. It's return it back because I have updated the list by running the upper code and brings here. When I run again, it will remove another Ame, and then it goes in that particular order. Now what happened? If there are two items in the list and you click on remove, it removes the first occurrence. That's what I want to explain. So the moment I put Ame, you see another Ame here. If I run it again, what happens again? The second Ame will be eliminated. And if I run it again, there is no Ame, it's going to have an error. So how do you do it again? You run it again and have the first Ame. So you can see here, Ame and Ame. If I run remove again, what happened? To remove the first Ame. If there is none, if I run it again, it goes to the second Ame. And this is a way I can remove the list. So in order to keep my list long, I will still run this one so that it have this. I'm not going to run remove because I don't want it to remove it for me. Now, if I want to remove a specific index, you see the way I put Ame here, but I want to remove a specific index. This is to remove. Like you see, I said remove. And that remove, run a specific. This is to remove the first occurrence. Removing occurrence. Let me just put occurrence like this. And if you run it again, let's go to popping. When you go to pop, what's the difference between remove and pop? So in popping, you use pop to remove a particular item as it exists inside this thing. So what I need to do is that I want to pop up inside this list that we have, as we already have this list here. I want to pop up a specific Ame that I want to pop up. Now I want to remove, you see this list here that have this list here. I want to remove Balaki. So I need to pop up, and in popping up, I'm going to use numbers to pop up. So if I put 1 and I run this list again, what happens? I am removing a specific number, which is Balaki here. You see, I have Ame and it. I want to remove Leo. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which is 6. So if I put up 5 here, what happens? I will remove Leo. So this is the way if you run it again, because it is, you see that it's not out of range, the indexing cannot work again. So to keep this, I'm going to rerun this again in order to retain the total of that. So this is the way you can pop up. So you can remove the item. Now, if you want to remove the item in the lists without specifying the particular number that you want to remove, what do you need to do? You need to just leave it empty. So I'm going to go here, paste this, and instead of me putting up anything here, I'll put it empty. So remove the item in the list. If I want to remove Honore, I'll run it again. If I want to remove Farida, I'll run it again. Lydia, that way. Ame, that way. This, that way. Now we have empty list. So this is a way you can pop up a particular list. So I'm going to rerun this one, this list of extents, so that we have the whole thing in the brain again to continue. So I rerun this, and this is what we call pop. Then when you do this, is to pop up empty. removing it from the last one. Now we use the one we call the delete keyword. Now the delete removes a specific index. How do you use that particular one? So we already have our list. For me to delete, I need to use the keyword delete, and I will say present list. Now if I say here, it means I'm referring to a particular list. So if I run this now, what happens? You see now that I may. Okay, first and foremost, let me print the pop-up list first so that you see the difference. So I'm going to put the pop-up, the present. So I'm going to put the present list here, and I'm going to run this. This is what we have as present list. But when it run to the print, it delay the first one, Balak go, so you have Lydia to here. If I run it again, what happens again? It deletes this, so you can see the way it is reducing. So this is a way you can make modification to your list, and you see here, then the next one, poo, and then it delete everything and it goes. So to bring it back, I will return back to the beginning where we have this. I think this is not insert here. Yes. So no, I think I've passed. So let's run this again because this is where we make an extension. Yes. So I will return here so that we can have our list complete. So I'm going to run this a bit and you see that this is complete. But remember that we have removed Balak. That's why this other one is okay. But we have removed Balak. Now this is the existing list we have here. The keyword, you use that to delete that. So if you want to delete entire thing, if you want to delete everything, you just need to use the keyword here and just say delete. Just say delete, and then you can delete the entire list by saying this. So everything on the list will be deleted. So if you run this now, the list is going to be empty because everything is going to delete. The print list is not existing because you want to delete the entire thing, and that is a way you can delete the entire. So the moment you mention delete everything in the list does not exist, and that is why it is telling you it is empty. Now to avoid this, I will still return back here to run this code. Why? Because I still want to keep my lists. I don't want to keep on copying again. Now the last thing we need to talk about here a bit is what we call clear. Clear is used to empty the whole list. So the list remain, but there is no content. Now the difference between this one is that this deletes and it does not exist again. But when you use clear, it removes everything here. So first, I will need to print it for you to see. So I'm going to print, and I'm going to say present list, and then I'm going to use clear. Now in this, so I'm going to use present list here so that we have what we have. We have what we have here, and we're going to use clear. So if I run this code now, you see now this is the present list we have, and but once I use clear, that clear the entire list, and we don't have anything remaining again in that particular list. So this is getting long, and I think I will stop here to actually let our brain work well. So before I stop, I am going to copy this one. I'm going to copy this. So to keep it, because we'll pick it up from there. So I'm going to add this, pasting it here, and then to this we are going to be talking about, so that you can understand this. So I'm going to be talking about looping. So we're going to loop through the list. So it's going to be a subtopic on its own here. So we're going to be looping through the lists here. So how you can loop through the list, and then like I said, this is we have actually spent 1 hour, almost 1 hour 18 minutes, and